What's going on, guys? This is the Mongoose, and today we are going to cover how to kill the Twin M's if you are a melee DPS player. Now, before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Going to be coming out with a lot more videos about melee DPS and Fury Warriors specifically. And on top of that, check the link for my Twitch channel. I stream almost every day now, and happy to answer any questions while I'm live, and love to just hang out. Now, diving into it, obviously Twin M's is a historically pretty tough fight. Really, everybody in the raid needs to know exactly what they're doing. It's a very mechanic-heavy fight, and there is a couple prerequisites to actually completing this fight. Now, the first thing that you definitely need is the add-on Deadly Boss mods. This is going to tell you when the Twin Emperors teleport, which is absolutely essential for the melee DPS. So what I have here is a recording of our second Twin M's kill, the second week after the gates have opened. And I'm really going to walk you step by step as to what my logic is behind every single one of my moves. Now, notice that I don't have any world buffs here. I'm not necessarily sure if you can see. It's a little darkened out here. I don't have any consumables. So we're going under the assumption here that we're just trying to get this boss down. We're not necessarily trying to parse just yet. We're not min-maxing. We really just want to make sure that we are not the root of any issues here, and that we can ultimately be an asset to the team in downing this pretty tough boss. So let's get started. You can see we have a pool timer. Our main tank is going in. And we're going to get started here. So the tank is going to pull the boss right into this corner, and the other boss should be tanked by your warlock with some shadow resistance on the other corner, or the other side at the very least. Now, you want to be very cognizant of threat. If you pull threat here, it's going to cause a lot of issues. The Twin Emp is probably going to one or two shot you, and on top of that, it could potentially move the Emp to the middle of the room, at which point they're going to heal. Now, I'll get to behind why I moved at that point after this boss. So what's happening here is that the bosses are teleporting and switching sides. You can see here, the tank has picked it up. I've waited for the tank to actually pick up threat, and I'm way behind. So I'm chilling right now, and this is where you see the twin teleport timer. Now, the twin teleport timer is essential for this fight, especially as melee DPS. So let me talk about that. Let me pause the video for a second and talk about it. Basically, what happens is when the twin teleport timer goes off, that's essentially a warning that the twins are probably going to teleport within, let's say, the next 5 seconds. It is absolutely essential that once this timer goes to 0, or I like to give myself a couple of seconds cushion, so typically at about 3 seconds until the timer, I'll turn around and start heading to the middle of the room. So that's what you see here. Now, it's really important that these yellow bugs, don't aggro them if you don't need to. So watch out for your AoE spells. And you can see right here that some of our warriors are thunderclapping. And the reason behind that is that because these guys, these Twin M's, do a ton of damage, and tanks cannot use Wind Fury, or sorry, they can't use Thunder Fury on this fight. And the reason behind that is they will aggro all of these additional mobs. And some of these mobs have a really crazy Sunder armor that's ultimately going to put your tank in a really, really bad position if he gets aggro with Thunder Fury. So Thunder Fury is a no-go, and that's why some of your DPS warriors need to be thunderclapping to really alleviate some of that damage. Now you can see right here we have this big scarab. Now when you are fighting one of the Twin Emps, you're not in the middle of the room, ranged DPS should be zerging down these scarabs. They're not necessarily a melee problem when you're hitting the Twin Emps. Now when you go back into the middle of the room, you can really take some of that time and kill any of the aggroed mobs, including these scarabs, including these smaller scarabs, assuming that they are already aggroed. You want to play your part here. Let's keep going with the video. So you can see this is the timer right here. I have 6 seconds left, and with a few seconds left, I'll be turning around right there. Cool. Now this is when I can hit the scarab, right? I can help range DPS down the scarab. I want to clear out any of the aggroed yellow small mobs here. Now, if they are not aggroed, do not aggro them. The more bugs that you aggro, the more that you risk your healers getting aggroed through healing aggro, and then ultimately getting healing pushback, which really impacts your tanks, including your warlocks that are aggroing or keeping aggro for the other Twin Emp that melee DPS is not on. This is a very, very healing intensive fight, so you really want to aggro the minimal amount of small bugs in this area. Now let's talk about what happens after the teleport. What happens is, after they actually teleport, the Emp that is susceptible to melee damage will immediately have a huge aggro spike to the nearest player. So you can see here that I am really, really keeping my distance until I know for sure that this tank right here has aggro, and then I can come in. Now you can see a couple times throughout this fight, a couple of our hunters actually hit the Emp before that happens, or one of the pets is in. I'm not really sure. We're going to have to figure that out as we watch this. And it actually aggroes that Emp before the tank can get close to it. And it causes the Emperor to come into the middle of the room where they start healing each other. This is the #1 mechanic you want to avoid at all costs. So as melee DPS, the #1 rule here is just wait and stay far away from that Emp, and just wait until that tank for sure has aggro, and just watch your threat meter. It's the easiest thing to do. Keep your distance, and then once he does have that aggro, you'll be good. So tap it right here, picks up aggro. He was the closest to the boss, and now I'm going in. Now again, I'm playing super conservatively here. This is a progression fight, not trying to min-max it. Just want to make sure that the twin Emps are going down. You want to be cognizant of your AoEs here too. So for warrior specifically, Whirlwind can get dicey, just because you can aggro some of these yellow bugs that don't need to be aggroed. Got to get my battle shout up here. Now the twins have teleported, the tank has gotten aggro, and I go back in, right? So that's the entire idea here. Now, one thing that we haven't talked about are the large mutated scorpions. You'll see him right here. The large mutated scorpions are prio for melee DPS. So if you're melee DPS, typically you just want to keep them at the twin Emp. That was kind of scuffed right there, and down them as much as possible. So again, the large mutated scarabs, that is range DPS responsibility, and you only do that, you only hit them to clean up when you're walking through the middle like I just did. And the large mutated scorpions are melee priority, meaning once they're spawned, you want to make sure you get those down as quickly as possible. Another thing you want to do too, and this is more specific to DPS warriors, is that you want to keep demoralizing shout up at all times. Again, these twin Emps hit like absolute trucks, so everything you can to do to help your tank out is going to be a priority here. So let's speed up the fight a little bit. This fight is going to take a while, especially if you're, again, just going for the execution and the kill here. You can see right here the Scarab is getting hit by range, so that's good. Teleport's coming up, so I'm pulling off the boss, helping with all the adds in the middle. Killing some more Scarabs. I'm leaving the non-aggroed ones alone. Again, you don't want to hit them if you don't have to. The tank has aggro here. I'm going in, doing as much damage as I can while still watching my aggro. Teleport here. I'm going to peel off in about a second here. Bang. And I'm good to go. The idea here is, as a melee DPS, is you just don't want to cause any issues, right? So play conservatively for your progression kills. You don't necessarily... Oh, okay, so here, this is what happened, right? A hunter hit the Emperor, or he had a pet in before the tank was either A, closer, or before the tank could hit the boss to ultimately get some aggro on it. Not sure if he necessarily healed a little bit there, but again, that is something you just want to avoid at all costs. Keep your distance until your tank is in there. So let's do a quick review. What you want to do is prio the mutated scorpions as melee DPS. You want to peel out when there's only a couple seconds left from the teleport, and then once you're in the middle of the room, you just help kill as many adds as possible. When they do actually teleport, you stay your distance and make sure that the tank that is picking up that boss is the closest to the boss so they can pick up aggro. Then you go in, DPS them down, and then it's really just rinse and repeat. Do it over and over and over. Again, this is under the assumption that your healers brought some mana pots. It's going to be a really healing intensive fight. But as long as you're doing these steps as a melee DPS, you should be good, and you shouldn't be a cause of the problem. So let me speed it up a little bit just so everybody can see the full kill here. This is 2x speed. letting the scarab get hit by range. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world to help with the scarab, but again, you do want to put some level of output on the actual EMPs so this doesn't turn into a 15-minute fight. So here we have another screw up, right? Got to make sure that the tank is the closest person to the EMP when they teleport. Peel out. Help with any ads. Pretty clean in the middle right here. No need to. Let the tank pick up. Go in. DPS. Wait for the teleport timer. Oh, we got a scorpion. Hit the scorpion. Wait for the teleport timer to hit like 2 or 3 seconds. Peel out. Help with all ads in the middle. Let the tank pick it up. Give him his distance and then peel in. It's rinse and repeat. Here we really had a screw up, and you can see they actually start healing. Luckily, we had an off tank ready to pick it up and put him back in position. And it's really rinse and repeat here, guys. As melee DPS, there's not too much to it, but you just got to make sure you execute perfectly. Again, if you are too close to the boss when they teleport, you will be the cause of the problem, and you're gonna hear a word from your raid leader, right? So just minimize the amount of mistakes you can make. Keep an eye on the teleport timer at all costs. Help with these mutated scorpions. Help with the ads when you're in the middle. Keep them off your healers. Give the tank space. Get a aggro. I actually put a little bit of aggro there, so I tanked for about 1 or 2 seconds. Don't want to do that. And then it's just rinse and repeat, guys. Look, really appreciate you guys watching here. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me on Twitch. Always happy to answer any questions as well. AQ is fun, man. Keep your head high. Pay attention. This is not BWL, and you should be all right. Be a team player here. In the next couple of weeks, what I'll do too is we'll start posting some min-max videos, some warrior guides. So if you like this content, guys, subscribe on the YouTube, subscribe on Twitch. Feel free to ask any questions whenever. Till then, take it easy. The Mongoose out.